Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to show you working with microservices architecture in Spring Boot. In this video, I will create some services and all the supporting application. Okay, and I will show you the practical thing. Like, I'm not going to discuss much about the theoretical part in this series because just we are going to focus mostly in practical things. So what are the projects I will create here? I will create one product service where I will returns the list of products. Like, we have the product ID and product list. So this will be one separate service, and I will create one MS order service. So order service is basically it will return some order information like products and its quantity. Okay, all the ordered quantity I want to return from this one. So third one, I will create discovery service. So discovery service is basically it is called the service locator. So when we are running service, any microservice, that will be registered in that Eureka registry, and Eureka registry will have the information about every service, like whatever the services are registered in Eureka registry, like how many instances are running of that service, and that service is down or up, or any other information like host name and port number we can get from this discovery service. Like, if one service want to get the information about if like product service want to get information, so you can call, hey discovery, can you please give me the information about this order service? So yes, it can get how many services running, it's up or not. Okay, then I will create config server. So it's a very important, the config server. So config server is basically used to externalize our configuration. Okay, so basically we are adding in our internal YAML file. We have a Spring Boot application, so all the things we are adding, all the properties in our internal YAML file. But when we just create the jar file of that application, so we cannot make changes in any that internal YAML file, right? We have option like we can create one YAML file, and that we can keep in external place, and we can just keep the path of that one. But it's very difficult because every day we are making changes in that file, and multiple people are making changes. It means we will have to maintain version control of that file. It will be easy. So we will create one we will create one what is called Git repository. Okay, and from this Git repository we can configure in our config server, and what it will do, just it will load the property from here. Like, we can add new property in our Git repository, and the config server will just listen that thing, and like it will just get that information. Okay, and after that we will do some Git refresh thing, and all the latest property will be updated in our and will be available in our all services. So we don't need to restart, or we don't need to do anything, just we can update that. We can add new files, new properties in that Git repository. Okay, so basically to externalize our configuration, we are using what? Config server. Okay, then we have API gateway. So API gateway is basically for what we are using. Like, we have the microservices here, right? So we may have, and all the services are running on different port number, and we may have the hundreds of services or thousands of services. So we are not going to provide the direct access to the clients that they can access every services, because we have the different port number, different URL number, and the port numbers are generating dynamically, right? So it's very difficult. And suppose if you want to provide a cache, or you want to provide security, they will have to add in all the services. So that's why we're creating one application, API gateway. Okay, and every request will just go through this one. So this is the entry point for our all application, right? So this is called what? Gateway. So nothing but it is one application. Like we have to do some configuration. Okay, so that thing I will do in API gateway in this video. Then like, I will use the database where I will save the product details for the product service. But in order service, just I will return one dummy data. I will not going to create DB connection. You can create if you want. And later I will use the Zipkin server, especially to trace the distributed log. So let's create all projects one by one. So first I'm going to create discovery. Okay, we can create product service or order service first, and then we can create discovery and config server. But just I'm trying to create first discovery, and we will register all the services on this discovery registry. Okay, so select the name of the project like MS discovery server or discovery registry, whatever we want, and version as a Java 8, and group name I can give like a coding boot, and the same thing as a package name here, package name. Okay, next, and select here any stable version 2.3.10, because in the latest one maybe the lots of changes there. Okay, so Spring Boot 2 I'm using here 2.3.10. So this is now Eureka registry, so I have to select one dependency, Eureka server. Okay, at least this one required for now, and let it require anything I will add, next, and finish. So created now. So let's add some configuration in this project. So the first thing, on the main method, I mean on a main class, I have to add one annotation, that is @ enable Eureka, sorry, enable Eureka server. Okay, this is the first one annotation I have to add here. And second thing, let's add some properties in YAML file. So this is what application.properties file. If you want, I can just rename this one as a YAML file, which is more convenient way to write properties. So make this YAML file, and let's open. So let's change some default port number, 11,000 I'm maintaining, and application name MS discovery server. Just try to keep the name and project name as same, and this is the first thing. And second thing I have to do, like Eureka client registry. Okay, false, like either you can give the false or true, like we don't want to give the information to any service about this discovery, so we can make fetch registry as false, and register with registry with Eureka. I don't want to register this service. This is the minimum thing required on this application, and let's run now. Right click, run as Spring Boot. Okay, so it is up now. I can see in the port number this one. So let's open in the browser, Google Chrome, localhost 11,000. Now our Eureka registry dashboard we can see. So if you see here, replica host is this one, localhost 8761 Eureka. So if you want to update this one, because this is the URL what I have to give to all the discovery client who will be registered on this registry. So I can change that path and the port number. So something I'm going to give here like service URL, service URL, and default zone HTTP localhost port number 11,000 Eureka. Okay, so we can see that here now it is changed. So now the Eureka registry work is done. The next thing what I have to do, that is let's create one order service. Okay, so order service, go to here, project MS order service. Okay, next, then I have to add dependency. Now this is what is called, this is the Eureka client now. Okay, so Eureka discovery client, this is the first thing I have to add, and this is the web application. So I have to add here Spring Web, but I don't want DB connection in this one. I will create DB connection in my product service. Here just I will return one dummy data from this one, so I don't think anything required. If you want, we can use here Lombok. So these are the minimum thing required. Then do here next and finish. So order service is created now. The same thing I have to do here, just rename. So the server dot port number, (11,001) and application name MS order service. Okay, fine. Let's write context path, and I have to give the information about that our discovery server. So Eureka dot client dot service URL. So service URL I have to give the discovery URL. So default zone props we have to pass here HTTP localhost 11,000. Okay, Eureka. Let's run this service now. Yeah, it should be registered. Yeah, we can see here the order service now. Let's create the same for let's create one product service. Next, select here the minimum thing required is the Lombok Spring Web discovery client, three things, and I'm going to use JPA, so Spring Data JPA, and I will connect MySQL server, select MySQL driver. These are the minimum things required. Next and finish. So the same thing I have to add here in that service also about Eureka registry. Just close these all things, open product service YAML file, okay. So server dot port 11002, okay, and application name MS product service, and here I have to pass the discovery information, same thing. Now this will be registered, but one thing I have to pass database information here, right? So the database information I have to data source dot URL. So URL is something MySQL colon JDBC MySQL colon localhost 3306, and service name I have created one schema that is product. Okay, fine. And the username is Laravel, and password is Laravel. And I have to give one more thing, Hibernate props. Hibernate prompt here in Spring I have to give Hibernate DDL update. Okay, so SQL something, okay, that is fine, this much only. Okay, so these are the minimum thing required, and this should be registered here if I will restart this service. So let's start this product service now. Fine, so this should be registered now. Oh, sorry, so we are not seeing. Let's see what happened. It's restarted but not registered. No URL will be pulled. Sorry, So I taken this information from discovery, that's why it is false. It should be true. Okay, and restart this. Now it should be up. Okay, registered. So now let's write some code in services. So the first I will write some code in order service, so it will return the order ID and sorry, it will return product ID and its quantity. Okay, total ordered quantity, right? So I will not connect from DB, that I will show you how to connect in a product service, but here just I will return one dummy data. So before that I will have to create one Vivo class because I want to store the information. So product order summary, I can create one class name, and let's add property private int PID private string product name. Let's add here constructor, all arg constructor, getter setter. Okay, and the next thing I have to create, that is controller. So product order controller, product order controller, rest controller, and let's add one method, response entity, response entity, and I will return what is called list of product order summary. Okay, so product order summary, get product order summary, sorry, okay, as list new product order summary. Okay, PID something 1 to 1, or just pass 1, and product name, sorry, so I don't have to pass product name because in order service we have only quantity here, right? So just I can write quantity and close, just pass here the quantity, quantity something, suppose like this, and let's create some more product order summary. Then I can give something like 2 3 4, only 4, remove this one, change the quantity. Fine. So this one what I will return, so return response entity dot okay and list. Let's store this somewhere in the list, product order summary. Okay, product order summary list equal to this one. So this is what one controller I have, I will return. Let's define the endpoints, get mapping order summary. Okay, so this is the URL. Let's rerun this order service. Fine, it's up now. Okay, so let's call that one order service. So I have order and order summary. So we are getting here the order summary 1 1 and 1 2, these things. Okay, so now I will call this service from my product service, and in the product service I have the list of product. Okay, so from here I'm getting the order details, and from the product service I'm getting product list. So I will merge this to a response, and I will return the final result like product name, product ID, product name, and its total ordered quantity. Okay, so I will return one product order summary something from our product service. Okay, I will add one controller. Okay, so product controller, rest controller, and public. So I have to return here response, right? So what I need, first I will write one two things I will write. I will write one that will return the product list, and second one the order summary. Okay, in the second endpoints I will call that order service API. So I will create one product entity product. Okay, let's write entity and private int id private string name. Okay, so these are the two things in this entity class, id and generated value. Okay, so generated value and strategy we have auto. Fine, fine. So what I will return now, again I need to create one more thing, that is repository. So I can create here repository product repository. Okay, it's the interface. It's right repository extend from JPA repository, and I have to return the entity product and ID is integer type. That's it. Let's write here just auto-var this private product repository and auto-var. Okay, let's write one method public response entity, that is the list of product, get product list. Okay, return response entity dot okay product repository dot find all. So there is one database in my local system, so some data are already there, get mapping and endpoint something product list. And let's write one context path. Context path I have not given. Okay, so context path, context servlet dot context path is product. Fine, let's run this product service now. Fine, I have product service, click on product service and product list. Now I'm getting the product lists which are already there in my DB. So from this product service I'm getting what? I'm getting product list. Okay, and from the order service I'm getting order information like the total quantity. Okay, so what I need to create now here in product controller, just I will create one endpoints that will call external service, I mean not external, that order service, and I will merge those two response. Okay, and I will return. So before calling I need to create one REST template config. Okay, just create one config class, product configuration. Okay, then public REST template return new REST template. That's it. And I have to use here what bean and load balance. Our ribbon will just go to the discovery client, this discovery server. It will get the information about host name and port number. So we have to use here load balanced. Okay, fine. And let's auto wire this one. So not auto wire here. Let's create one command class from where we will invoke external, I mean that order service. So let's write command product order command. Okay, component public response entity, not response entity. I want return. I want to return from this response, right? So I will have to create one Vivo class. Let's write Vivo same product order summary. Okay, so product order summary private int id or PID, private string, quantity, private int qty. That's it. Let's write getter setter and setter, no arg constructor and arg constructor. Fine. And all arg constructor. Then return list of product order summary. Okay, get or what can you do, invoke product order summary. Okay, then I have to do here auto where our rest template, rest template, rest template auto where. Fine. Then we can call from here rest template dot get for object and endpoint. Okay, I have to access this endpoint from here. So directly I can write here hardcode value, or we can read from YAML file. So better way is to read from YAML file. Okay, so if we want we can read, but let's write we will see later localhost. So we don't have to write localhost, but we have to write service name, order service. Okay, and then order and order summary. Okay, so I don't have to write here this hard coded value because we need to modify it, then again we need to do the code changes. So better to read this from endpoint, right? So how can we do that? Just we can write from here endpoint dot order service, write something order service colon order summary. Okay, and let's write its value like http order ms order summary, sorry, order service order and order summary. Fine. So endpoint ms order service order summary. So we can access this thing from there. To access this one I need to do here the auto where one for one thing, private environment env and auto where. So we can get all the environment variable from this env dot get properties. So get property is something in point dot ms order service dot order summary. Okay, so this is the key name we are getting, and null, or we can give the, and the second thing we have to pass here a return type. So return type is something order product order summary. Okay, product order summary dot class. So this thing I have to convert here in array list. Okay, so array list let's assign this in my local variable. Okay, something list, and then return arrays dot as list. Fine. So I will be getting okay, what is the problem here? Change, sorry, so product order summary here. Fine. So product order summary now. So we'll be getting product order summary. Go to this controller. It is in product service. Let's write one method, return response entity, and a response entity I will return. So I will return one thing. Okay, so I will return the summary here that will have three things: product ID, quantity, and product name. Then I have to create one vivo, right? So product order summary I created, product ID and quantity, where I used this one I did not used, I guess, anywhere. Or what? Control Shift G. Okay. So in controller product order summary, I think I haven't used. Okay, so quantity plus private, there should be name of that product. So private is string name. Fine. So this is what I have to return, the list of product order summary. Product order summary is here, and what I got in the command product order summary. So in product ID and quantity I'm getting, then I have to create a name as well, right? So that is fine. uh, that is fine. Okay, so product order summary, product order summary. Okay, so get product order summary, and I have to invoke. Okay, then I need to auto var private product order command. Okay, product order command, product order command, and get mapping orders product order summary. Okay, so product order summary, let's write product order summary. Fine. Then first I need to get a product list. So the product repository dot find all, it will return the list of all product. So product list, and product command, product command order command, get, or sorry, invoke. So it will call that API, and it will return the list of product order. Okay, so we have order summary. Fine. So in this one I have only what is called product ID and quantity, but what I want to add its name here, right? So how can it do, how can add that name? So I have product list here, and I have to modify this object, right? Then what can I do? Like I can just do here order summary, uh, order summary. Okay, so just I'm trying to merge here. If you think that there may be any convenient way or better way to merge this, so you can suggest me, and you can add that in comment, so it will help to other people also. Order summary dot stream, and just I want to apply, right? So just do here map. uh, I can just take this thing. So I have to call here okay, let me check map. So I want to apply something new function I have, right? So the type is I have the type something no product order, product order summary I have, and the return type is also same. Okay, product order summary. Let's write apply method. Fine. So what I have to do, just I have to add here POS. Just I have to add name in this object, right? So what I will try to do, I will try to just name, I will try to get the name, name of that product here, right? So how can I get product service product list dot stream dot filter? Okay, So in filter e dot get id is equal to paste dot get PID. Okay, if you find the product ID, then I will get first uh, product ID. Fine, up to here, and find first not get. Okay, so we'll get here the product, that product found, product P. Okay, and pos dot set name equal to p dot get name. Fine, and return this P from here. So this is how I not P. Okay, so I don't think I can return this POS same object. Fine. So I think it should work. Let's, if you have any other way to do that, you can do, and you can suggest me how we can do. Okay, so I have map better to collect this as a list dot collect collectors dot as collectors dot to list. Okay, fine. Let's assign the local variable list. Fine, then return response entity dot okay and list. I guess this should work. Let me try this rerun this product service now. I should get that thing. Okay, so here is the product list. Then I have to call product order summary. Okay, yes, we got. Now we are getting this quantity from order service. Okay, and this I'm merging this, it's quantity, I mean the name is to make this lambda expression, so convert this lambda. Fine, so just I converted this. If you want, so if you have any better way to merge these things, you can suggest me in my comment, and we'll discuss there, and it will help to other people also. So this is what we are getting from product service, and so now we are calling that okay, so now we're done that. We are able to call the microservice, one service from another service, and we're getting data, we're merging, and we're returning the final result. So uh, just I have to add here the concept here of API gateway. Okay, so why API gateway? If you see, to get the product service, I'm using the product host here, right? So to get the order summary, I'm using the order summary. So we may have the hundreds of, so we have here services, okay, order service and product service. We may have lots of services. So we are just here is the word client. We cannot give direct access to all service, because all services are running on different port number, different host, I mean host or port number, and that will be dynamically changed or updated, right, each time. So instead of giving the direct access to the client here, what we are doing, just we are giving one gateway, we are creating one application in the middle here, that is gateway. So the client will now just go through this gateway only. Okay, and from here it will just call, we need to configure. Okay, it will just use the routing things, and it will get the information from this fine grained service. Okay, so we're not going to give the direct access to these services. So I will create here API gateway, and we can do many things in API gateway. Here is we are providing one single entry point. It means if we have to add security, so we don't need to add in all the application, but we can just add here in the gateway label. We have to add filters or cookies, whatever you want, many things we can do in the gateway label. So the main purpose is we don't want to expose our all services to the public or to the client. So just we will maintain the domain for our API gateway, and from here like we will call, we'll get the data from this internal services. Okay, so let's create that gateway project. So just we will create a Spring Boot application, simple, that is Spring Boot API gateway. Next, so we have to select here the first thing, that is Eureka Discovery Client, and one dependency, that is gateway. We have to select here gateway. Next, finish. Then the same thing, whatever we have here, the common props I have to add. Let's copy these all things, open our gateway, just rename this also, YAML file, finish, open, paste. Change the port number, we have 3 now. Gateway, if you want to give, you can context. If you can't give, if you don't want, service name, API gateway. So let's run this gateway. Yeah, it's up now, so we can just refresh and we can see now gateway is up, right? So what I want, just I want to use this domain, gateway domain. I want to call this product service and order service, okay, and whatever the services we have, I want to use only this entry point. So we'll have to give the configuration, like we have to give the information in this YAML file. We have to give here routing, okay. So in the routing, like a Spring Cloud gateway routes, okay. Then I have to give ID, and the ID is the service ID, MS product service, okay. Then I have to give here URI. So basically in URI, what we have to give, we can use either HTTP localhost and the host name of this product service, but it will be using a load balancer by default, it's added. Then we can use here LB and STTP, not HTTP, name of the service, like product service. That's it. We can use this host name, okay. And what we can do now, one thing we have to pass, that is predicates. So in the predicates we have to pass many things, like path we can give, or we can give here the cookies, or we have some filters, okay. So just I'm going to give here the path, path equal to, for which path I want to redirect for to this service, okay. I want to call this service, okay. So we can give product. So if we have product here, so it will just redirect that request to product service, okay. So let's run this gateway once, and I will see we are able to call that product service through gateway or not, okay. Fine. So this is now my product, so I mean API gateway, okay. So I'm just calling product, and in the product we have a product list. Great, we are getting. So you can see this one, we are using this, right? And if you want to call this order service, just we can click here order, okay. And product order summary. So we're getting product service. The same thing we can configure here our order service. Then ID, ID, MS order, order service. Same thing, URI, LB, MS order service, okay. And predicates, path, order. Let's run. Great. So we are able to call product service, and the same thing we can use here order and order summary. Yeah, we are getting on the same host name, right? So now we are able to get through gateway. So if we want to apply the security, just we can add the security on this gateway label, and all the other services are running on the local host. We are not going to expose those services on public domain, so we'll only expose this gateway, like this host, on public domain name, okay. So that's why we have one single entry point now. So we cannot directly access our fine grained service, means we cannot access other services directly, Okay, fine. So this is what we use the API gateway. Now the next thing is I'm going to use uh, config server. Okay, so config server is really very important. So config server is basically used to externalize our uh, you know configuration, right? So what is the problem? What is the problem if we are not using config server? So let's try to understand some problem. Suppose from this product service I have one what is called endpoint. Okay, I have one endpoint like public is string get suppose customer list. Like I have one external service here. Okay, so here suppose I have external service and this service is calling to this customer service, and this service has host name, some host name like like UAT server host name, or we have some production host name. Like it is running in a different server, this host name is not same, right? Means once if you write that host name or in that my internal YAML file, and once that file jar file is generated, so we cannot modify that file, right? But we have option that we can create one external YAML file and we can keep somewhere in our server, and we can access from there, like that will be out of the jar uh, file. But it's very difficult because every day developers are making changes in YAML file. So that's why if there multiple people are making changes, then we'll have to maintain here what version control, right? So the version control means we can keep that file in any Git repository, and from there we can fetch, right? We can get the properties file from our Git repository, and then what will happen, like every people can just change in that Git and we can fetch in our application, right? So basically we're using config server. The config server work is it will just get that repository, that YAML from that repository, and it will provide to all services. Okay, so how can you do that? Let's understand first problem. Get mapping. I have written get mapping, and just I have one here endpoint customer list and return. Okay, return env let's what it's called autovar private environment env autovar. Fine. So from this env we can call one, we can get property and property something endpoint in. Fine. Or let's write customers. Fine. So this endpoints I'm going to add in my internal YAML file here. So I can add here only customer and customers. Okay, and suppose that is something abc.com or uat or devserver.com slash customer list. So this is the endpoints I'm accessing from internal YAML file. Endpoint customer and customers. Fine. Endpoint customer and customers. So what will happen when we are developing our applications, that will be running on in my dev server sometime in UAT server, and UAT server we may have the different UAT, right? So there may be the hundreds of thousands of property which values vary from server or environment to environment, right? Once if we have created and once we have generated jar files, and later we have to change its value, right? That properties values when it's running in the dev server, when you're moving to production server. So everything we need to modify, like we have the credential or we have some endpoints. Okay, so those things we need to update. So here I'm using from internal YAML file. What I need to do now, let's run and see first. Now if I want to get suppose I'm using this product and get customers. Okay, so I'm getting this endpoint. Now my application is running and I want to change this property, because just I want to deploy this jar file in UAT server, and there may be the UAT server in UAT, maybe the customer service is deployed with this host name and this URL is different. Then what I can do, we cannot just modify in the jar file. Like again, we cannot modify in internal YAML file, and we can internal YAML, and again we will not generate that jar file, right? So what I will do, we will have to we have to store that YAML file in somewhere out of the box, like out of the jar file, right? So I have to create one config server which will take care of loading the YAML file from external resource, from Git repository basically. Okay, so let's create a Spring Boot starter config server. Okay, and what I need to select here, discovery client and config server. Okay, this should be config server. Next and finish. Fine, so our config server is created now. Let's do the same configuration here first. YAML file. Okay, so the basic thing, I have to add this common props in config server. Fine, and what are the port numbers I have used? Up to 3. Then server dot port 11004, application name ms config server. Okay, these things, and I have to add one more thing. So enable config server. Let's run. But I have to provide some information, git repository info, right? So the problem here is, when you're using config server, right, so we have to give what is called git repository link. Okay, and that should be loaded before our main context, like application context. So we have a bootstrap context which is created before our application context, right? And those, like the we have one YAML file, bootstrap.yaml, that is loaded before application.yaml file. Okay, then I will have to create here one file that will be bootstrap.yaml, that is loaded before application.yaml file. Okay, so bootstrap.yaml file, and I have to move these things there. Okay, so I have to move these things, at least this application name, okay, and port name, or this thing, application name, and if you want you can move up at least these things, or we can move everything if you want. And I have to give the git repository link. Okay, so git repository link config server dot git URI. Okay, so I have to give URI here. Fine, so I have created here one git repository, and I have created two separate folder. So two separate folder, basically just I created for two different environment, right? So suppose UAT server. Okay, so you can see here 3 files I have created. 3 files means whatever property you store, whatever property you have in application.yaml file, that is common for all the services, means those properties will be available in all services. Okay, and this property, like if you want to add properties for a specific service, like ms order service. Okay, so I have to use, this is the name of the profile, uat1. Okay, if you're giving here the active profile as uat1, so it will search in this uat1 folder, and it will see first application.yaml file. Okay, so it will load all the property in that one, and it will see we have any ms order service, yes, and UAT1, yeah, so it will load the property from this one. And in product service, it will just load the properties from application.yaml file, and here the name of that service and UAT1. The profile name is UAT1 and the service name is product service. So this properties from this file will be loaded in MS product service. Okay, so this is the simple thing, and just copy this one and paste. And on startup clone, I want clone on start true, and I have to give one more thing, search path all folder you have to give UAT1 and UAT2. Okay, that's it. This is the information required. Okay? Config server can get the information about I mean, it can load the property from external YAML file now, but those things I want load in product service and order service. Then what I need to do now, I will have to make this config client. This is config server, but this one I have to make config client. So to make this config client, I will have to add one dependency, Spring add starter and dependency. So basically I have to add two dependency. First I will add one dependency, then I will show you what is the use of second dependency. Okay, so now I have to add config client. Okay, so config client, next, just copy this. This is not working. Okay, open this one. Now I have added here starter, right? Then I will have to create here one more. I have to give the information about that Eureka config server. Okay, so the config server, if you refresh, sorry, it's not up. Let's make this up first. Config server, run. Okay, so I have to give the information about that config server in my product service. Okay, which is the config client. So it is the config client means I have to add those things in bootstrap.yaml, right? Before loading the main context, I want to load those properties, right? So that's why I have to give here bootstrap.yaml file. Finish. So nothing else, just I have to give the information about that config server. So config server should be up. Okay, config server. Okay, this URL. So this URL I have to give, nothing else. Okay, this URL I have to give. So the config server URI. Okay, config server URI I have to give this one. Okay, that's it, nothing else. I have to give this information only. Now it will load the property from our external file. Okay, so how can we understand that it's loading the file from external or not? Okay, then I will check here. I have this property endpoint customer dot customers. Okay, this is my internal YAML file, and I will see here UAT1. Go to UAT1, and that's not order, it should be in product service. Fine, endpoint customer and this one. So I should get this one, right? So if it's loading from external, like we will get here this URL when we hit this. So still we are getting old one. Let's restart after adding those all things. This product service, and first I will have to restart our config server because we added those Git repository link. So restart this config server first. Fine. So config server. Okay, let's run. So config server is up. So one more thing, in product service I will have to pass in bootstrap.yaml file, that is active profile. Okay, so active profiles.active. So you can pass here multiple profile if you want to load properties from multiple what is called profile or folder. So I have to make active only UAT1, means it will go in a UAT folder and it will search for the file name, not folder. It will just go in the directory and it will get the files from application.yaml file, and then it will load which ends with underscore UAT1, okay, and the service name. Then let's restart that service, product service, and let's check its console. See, we are seeing here it is fetching the config from at this one. Okay, so we should get that new URL what I have added here, right? So let's check. Yes, we're getting new URL. But what is the problem? If just I add here what I told, just we have to update here and we will get the latest one. Let's add something. AWS dot product commit, and let's refresh. We will not get the latest one. Again we will have to restart this service. Yeah, the one thing is clear that we have to restart that service, but we don't have to now make any changes. But what I don't want to restart service. Just I want, if I commit there, it's and without restarting I want to get the latest property. Then what I need to do now, two things we can do here. We will have to here do git refresh. Okay, git refresh means we can do the refresh for all the services whatever registered in that Eureka. I mean, whoever the services have information about that config server, or we can do the git refresh for any specific service. So just first I'm going to do for this specific service. For this I will have to add actuator, because actuator provides endpoints to do the git refresh. Okay, so in the product service I will have to add one dependency, that is actuator. Go to dependency starter, actuator, next, copy, paste. Now I have added actuator. This is the first thing. The next step what I have to do in bootstrap.yaml, just add management include endpoints. Okay, include, so we have to enable, okay, we have to expose this refresh endpoint. Okay, now if we have added the actuator, so actuator provides some endpoints, and from refresh we can do the git refresh. Now like we can hint, like when we do the git refresh, so our product service will ask to our Eureka server, hey, can you please get the latest value, latest property from external YAML and give me. So if you do git refresh, it will just go to that config server will load latest property, and it will just hand over those property to the product service. But this step is not enough. First step, add the dependency actuator. Second, just expose this refresh endpoint. And third one, what we have to do, uh, that I have to use one annotation. Okay, so what I want this property. Okay, I want this endpoints. So what we can do, just let's create one uh, class. Okay, like prof config. Okay, in prop config, let's add here configure, configuration, and most important annotation we have to add, that is refresh scope. Fine, and right here env, do the auto var, auto-var, and public is string get customer list in point. Okay, return env dot get property, and I have to return in points dot customer dot customers. Fine. Here, so instead of calling like this, what I can do, just do the auto-var, that private prof config auto-var, and prop config dot get customer endpoints. Fine. Now what I want without restarting this service, I want to get the latest value. But we'll have to do one thing. We'll have to, let's hit one endpoint, but just restart first. If we restart, like for now we will be getting the latest one because we restarted, and from the next time we don't want to restart, but we want to get restarted. If you hit, I'm getting this one. Let's update. And customer list. This time without restarting I want. Okay, that's updated. But if I hit that URL, still I will be getting the old one. So I have to do here git refresh. How to do that? Let's open any Postman tool or any REST client. I have to hit one URL like product actuator and refresh endpoints. We have to send one empty request, that is the post request. Means this URL we have product here actuator and refresh variable, I mean endpoint. If you hit this URL, I will get all the updated props here. Perfect. It means this property is now modified, and if you refresh this page, I should get the latest one. That's great. So we got here now the latest property. So there may be one question you may think that, okay, we have the 100 of services, then we'll have to refresh, do the git refresh for 100 of services. Then no, we have one way. This thing we can do in config server. Okay, and we can do the refresh in our config server, and that will just update, like that config server will send all the updated value to all the services. Okay, so we have that endpoint actuator bus refresh. Okay, bus refresh you can see, and we can just try, and if you face any problem, just you can add in comment, we will discuss there. Okay, so that's it about the config server. Now let's do one more thing, that is Zipkin server and sleuth. So I want to track some distributed log, right? So how much time it is taking when we are invoking one service, it is going to product service, sorry, gateway to it is going product service, products to it is going order service, then you are getting response. So everything I want to track the information, how much time it's taking, which method were call. Okay, so for this we can use two dependency. One is Zipkin. Zipkin is basically, it will just push those logs to our Zipkin server, and we have sleuth, like it will create one ID that will be, the same in our one complete request. Okay, so in our Zipkin server, so we need to add here two things. Let's add how can we do? Right click, Zipkin client I have to add, and sleuth. Okay, so this is tracing via log with Spring Cloud. Okay, and Zipkin client, it distributes the tracing and existing Zipkin installation. Okay, this cloud. Next, and just copy this to dependency, cancel, open, paste here. So just I added this two dependency, and this two dependency I have to add in all these services. Okay, order service, product service, order service, and let's add in gateway. Fine. Okay, the one thing I forgot, like everything in every services we have added these common things. Okay, so what we can do, we can add this thing in our application.yaml file. Okay, so in application.yaml file means it will load, because these properties are common, right? So we don't need to give this property in all the services YAML file. So we can keep this in external YAML file. That's fine. So Zipkin server. So now I have added the dependency. Okay, so after adding the dependency, what I have to do, I have to run one Zipkin server. Okay, so open Google and install the Zipkin server. uh, Zipkin install. Okay, so it is already installed in my computer. So we can use docker, you can use this command to run. So that is already running in my system, or you can download these jar files and we can run as a jar. Okay, let me check if it is running in my system. Docker ps, yes, so it is running, I guess. So in my system it is running. Okay, so I can access from here, localhost. Yeah, so I can see here the Zipkin server dashboard, rerun product service, then API gateway. So seems all services are restarted now. Let's refresh here. Let's hit those all URLs first. I will just call everything here. First, order summary. Yes, two times order summary. Then product customer, and product service, and product list. Then order summary. Okay, product order summary, product order summary. Okay, and through gateway, product customer, customers, yes, and product list, product order summaries. Fine. Now go to this Zipkin server, refresh this service name. We are not seeing, just refresh this page, click here, service name, and we can see all the services here. Select product service, and whatever you want, spend name or whatever, just click. So we are seeing here the log details. Like if we talk about gateway. Okay, so gateway, we have API gateway. Click here. So how it is calling, gateway is calling to our product service. Okay, to get product list, and from product service to it is going order summary, and we can see which method is calling, which controller, what is the method name, everything we can see, right? And if you want to see the dependencies, you can search, see how request is going, or we have to select timing. Okay, see, we have to select an API gateway, so you can see through API gateway how data is coming, or we have to select order service, then we can see, or if we have product service. So the many things we can get from here using this Zipkin server. This is what was in this video. One thing I'm missing here, that is histories. So I'm really sorry for that. I don't want to make these videos too long. I will try to cover that thing in a separate video. And if you really like this video, and so if you like this video, and if you feel that yes, you learned something from this video, and you can work, so please subscribe and share this video with your friends. And I will add the source code in my this video description. You can download that code and you can see, but I will suggest you do not directly download and run this application. It is more better if you can watch and you can create yourself for the first time, then really get confident and you will learn lots of things if you do from yourself, right? So thank you very much for watching this video, and for your patience. Please like, share and subscribe my channel.